like get damaged by the elements, but they didn't consult with the artists who had made the artwork. And so as a consequence, they did not choose the right kind of sealant. And because they didn't, the art faded. Like it basically got washed away, just like the artists said it would. So over the past few days, give or take, 3 days maybe, most of this week really, the artists have been back out repainting it. And I'm going to show it to you tonight. I'm going to show it to you right now. Well, in just a second. This is it right here. So, so this is it. This is the Seattle Black Lives mural. And it goes all the way, basically this whole block, right down the street. And I'll try to get you a kind of an up view of the whole thing. It's a little tricky to do from where I am right now. But, so this is it. It's really like, I know you can't tell, but I can smell the paint is, or the sealant, I guess, is very fresh. Now, if you've been watching the streams for the past few nights, you saw that there were some like conflicts out here. People were, you know, getting upset and stuff. This is an amazing color palette right here. I just love this one. And this is different. These are actually different color schemes than what were on here before the original sealant was put on. So they redid it and they recolored the whole thing, and it looks fantastic. It's vibrant and great. And now it should be sealed, so it would ostensibly stay. Right? It's not gonna just get faded out and washed away right away. Anyway, we'll walk down it. Yo, welcome to Dark Side of the Rainbow. Somehow or another, did you change my stream or did we die? Because it says I'm now streaming, so that's weird. Anyway. It's a really compelling mural. Really love this piece right here. The color scheme here is just great. Streaming away for a few seconds? Yeah, no worries, thank you. I don't know what happened with that. Alright, here we are basically at the end of it, at the R, Black Lives Matter. I'll give you this shot at the top of it, right, for the whole thing, and you know, this is it, like all the way down the street. There's I don't know, like a sort of a tension in the air slightly, but also feels really demure. Maybe it's the fog, I don't know. Fog tends to make things feel close to me, you know, like close in, and so close in things tend to feel, I don't know, like quiet or something. Anyway, the protest did gather here, and had gone all the way down And, you know, I have no idea where they are now, of course, because we went and had some tacos and got refueled, so we didn't, you know, go down and cover any information that we didn't want to cover. We didn't see anything we didn't want to see. So we can hang out here for a little bit longer. I'm refueled. I think that would be fine. But by the same token, you know, I'm mindful of the fact that there isn't much going on right now. And, you know, that's a truth. That's a true thing. That's a true thing that's going on. So there's that. I want to go up and maybe look at the East Precinct again. And do that. Super foggy out here. The smoke is pretty rough tonight too. It's really making my allergies kick up, even with this mask on. I guess having it off in the restaurant was enough to get some smoke particles in my nose and kind of get it all tickled up and wanting to sneeze. Anyway, so look, here's. Let me go check this out real quick. Cal Anderson Park is a project of Seattle Parks and Rec to engage the public on how changing assumptions in language can affect the design of park spaces and create a sense of belonging for everyone. I'm invited. Join the third and final online discussion to talk about integration of public input. Like, I feel like this is good. Also, you know, like you can go to these links and participate if you're here in Seattle and you're interested in this right here. But you know, I can tell you what we want. We don't need a fucking meet. Okay, look, maybe they do need a meeting for some shit. All right, maybe you do. I'm not going to say that you don't 100% need a meeting. That's not entirely my position. All right, but here's one position I know, and it can articulate clearly without having to have a goddamn meeting about it. So here in Seattle, where we are right here, Cal Anderson Park, you can kind of see it right over there. You can see these buildings in the distance. We're heading over to them in the foggy, smoke-filled gloom. But you know what those buildings are? Why would you know? If you lived here, I bet you don't know either, because they aren't used for this. These are community public support buildings. Dahlia, what are community public support buildings, you might ask? Well, that's a great question. Community public support buildings, like these right here, are ones that have community kitchens in them, and bathrooms in them, and showers. And so these buildings are supposed to be open, and they are supposed to be for the public. Exactly that, for, you know, like these houseless folks living in these tents. It's important for them to be able to keep basic hygiene and stuff going. So that means porta potties, that means these normal working potties, that means showers, it means all this stuff, right? The fact that these things are shut down and fenced off, look how fenced off they are. Like, this is ridiculous amount of fencing. It wasn't like this. This happened like as a result of us using it. You might have seen, I don't know, like 3 weeks ago or so. So right here, well, not on this side, but on the other side, right on the other side, right there. So this right here, yeah, this building, public building, it's supposed to be open, the kitchen in there. You can see bathrooms over here, also have showers in them. Yeah, they're just non-existent now. So when they talk about like redesigning the park, you know, to be inclusive of everyone and all that kind of thing, like, yeah, that's great. By the same token, you know, this is already here. This is a thing, like, if you ask most people around, you know, people are interested in making sure that houseless folks have sanitation needs met and that these issues are addressed in a meaningfully substantial manner. And it's really rare to see, unfortunately, here in Seattle, because, like, you know, they will let us, here's what they will let us do. They will let us have a garden, right here. They'll let this, obviously, stuff they leave. They leave this here. Every time they sweep this area, and they sweep it a bunch, right? They leave this here. They don't kick over the garden. They don't knock any of these things over. They will come and they will knock over tents, and they will do all that, but they leave this. Okay, so we're leaving a community garden, which is cool. But then we close the community buildings that the community would use. So like they could take produce from their garden, for instance, and cook it in their community kitchen. And it's like, this is what it is designed for. And they've closed it down, and so now you can't do that here. Because you can't do that here, that's a big problem. And it's a thing that we should be able to open up and have back again for us. And you know, it's a real problem for us here in Seattle, because right now, you see, you know, look at it. It's just fenced off. And this is a bullshit thing. It's important for us to have access to community resources that are here for us as a community. And then, like, the thing that irks really about that kind of thing is to then have a meeting, right? To come up with a different idea on how to make a community accessible park. And that doesn't seem like a reasonable thing, since we have, you know, like, stuff here in this park that the community wants and would use and can't because it's locked up, and you know, that kind of thing. And it sucks. It just really sucks. There's more than one of them. There's another little community building right there. Same way, same deal, right? These little bathrooms, all this kind of stuff that are designed for this space to stay picked up and, you know, not have sanitation issues and shit like that. The city comes through all the time and empties the garbage cans and all the rest. It's just not, it just doesn't make sense. Unless, obviously, you know, they're doing it for a reason, which isn't, you know, which isn't as exactly obvious as perhaps it should be. It's hard to say. But in either case, the community facilities already do exist here. They're just closed, by and large. And because they're closed, the people can't use them. And so, you know, they want to build more things? I don't know, dog. Maybe we could just open the shit we've already built and do that instead. Is this over Cal Anderson? Yeah, we are at Cal Anderson right now. And the you know, the nightly protest gathered here earlier today, and they took off and they did their thing. We were going to walk around with that, but then the camera wasn't working properly, and you know, sometimes the evening march gets a bit spicy, and they are not as keen on having like press around. You feel me? And I respect that. I, being press, am not keen to be in that space, getting, you know, catching irrelevant details. I am there for only relevant footage. Now you'll note, just curiously, there's a bunch of us here tonight. We've been hanging out because it's only, you know, 10 after 10, and like, Seattle is a interesting city, but it does tend to kind of run late at night. I just don't know if we're going to be seeing the protests get back down here again before they're done for the evening, really. Like, to be fair, we had a march earlier this afternoon that went, you know, like for like 3.5, 4 hours, give or take. And a bunch of people continue, like, marched in one event or the other, or sometimes both. You know, that's just people get tired. That's just all there is to it. Was I on scene when they hit the poor girl and wouldn't treat her? Well, they've done that a bunch, so I don't know, like which time you're referring to. Do you know, like, in particular right now?
Yep, just wait, try not to around. Yep, absolutely, try to stay safe out here.
But, you know, yeah, we try. We try to be here for all the relevant stuff, you know. It's hard. In my own case, I got hurt, you know, back in June. I got hurt in June and then hurt again in like July. Just a couple of injuries, you know, just you pick them up as you go through the protests and things. And yeah, basically, I've only finally just gotten to a place where I can walk up and down the hills of Seattle and only have it hurt, you know, kind of like a lot, but not be debilitating. I've got this brace on my left knee, which is helping a whole bunch. And hopefully, once I get the actual for realsies brace made, instead of just this temporary, it'll be a lot better. And then I'll be able to probably move around, you know, like normal, I guess. But so there's that. It's horrible watching all that shit happen to us. Yeah, like, you know, to be fair, the police do target, you know, media, and they do target medics in particular, like street medics. That shit's some crazy fucking crap, y'all. Like, they do that, but, you know, outside of that, you know, I'm a press person, and so by and large, they don't target like me in the same way, and that's an important thing to bear in mind, right? Because like many times what I've tried to do is get myself like between, like, you know, the protesters and the cops, especially when things were getting dicey. But like that turned out to be a bad idea because I got hit by the bricks and I would just end up on the front lines. And whilst I want to be on the front line, like, you know, between folks, I'm not like to the left or right. I'm not trying to be on the front lines, like between folks, like actually between me and the police, right? Like to the left or right of that, sure. But so you know, like on this street here, the protests will just move up and down. The front lines shift. Like what's the front, what's the back changes really, really quickly. And so, you know, you just do your best with that. In my case, you know, I tend to get angry when they flashbang me or tear gas me or mace me. And so because of that, I will stand there and yell at them instead of getting out of the way. And I realize that standing there and yelling at them and getting mad at them is probably not the best thing for like the press to do. But by the same token, man, fuck those guys. Fuck them macing me and tear gassing me. Fuck that shit. So, you know, I get fucking salty about it. And then I just stand there and yell at them. And then I end up being essentially like a protester, except, you know, and I think it's important to say this stuff pretty clearly. Because I'm wearing this, right? I got these fucking things. You know, I have a different privileged perspective than like an actual protester. And so I want to be clear that, you know, even though I'm sympathetic to the protesters and all the rest, I'm not, you know, in the same position. I don't run the same risks, by and large. I mean, I do run the same risks to be, of course, tear gas and maced and that kind of stuff. And that's not really what I'm talking about. Like, those risks are common for everyone, reporters, medics, anyone out here, right? What I mean is to say that, like, the difference between, like, being a protester that's active and being, you know, a press person who is covering an act of protest, like, yeah, you're, you know, exposed to danger, and there is all that, but you run a different risk from law enforcement, and that's, you know, that's a salient difference. It's important to acknowledge it, because, you know, I don't want to, as much as it might be cool to be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm protesting too, and yeah, man, I'll chant, I say all the chants, I say all the slogans as we march, all that, absolutely case. But it's not the same. And so I just think it's important to bear that in mind, that, you know, people who aren't, I mean, the actual protesters run a greater risk. They take a far more great risk than I and any of the media who come to cover them. And so, you know, I appreciate y'all supporting me. Speaking of which, look below in my panels and you'll see some donation links. You'll see one to the Northwest Bail Fund. You'll see one for the National Lawyers Guild. So you can check those out if you're interested in helping out with like bail funds and stuff like that. Donations there will be very, very useful. If you want to help, you know, yours truly, obviously you can do that too if you wanna. But it would be better going towards those bail funds, y'all. Absolutely the case. Now, obviously that might help me one day. So I'm you know, trying to be mindful about the risks that we all run, because, you know, like, they tell us to leave. You've heard the cops say over and over, right? They'll say shit like this. We declare it an unlawful gathering. Regardless of your purpose, you may not stay. Which means, in what they're saying to us at that point, essentially, is if they choose to, they could arrest press and or legal observers because we are choosing to stay and not comply with their order to vacate. Now, I argue in that situation that my city law actually says that the police cannot issue a unlawful gathering notice that prohibits press and media from covering the event. So even if they declare an unlawful gathering or even a riot, that unlawfulness is not supposed to, by law here in my city, apply to the press and the media. Okay, so in practical terms, what that means is that we basically stand there when they tell us to leave, and you know, they hit us with the sticks and they do all of the things just like the protesters because we don't leave. My case, gotta be honest, I sometimes get belligerent. You know, not belligerent like in a in-your-face confrontational way, but like belligerent in a like, I can't believe you just hit me with your bicycle way. You know, and then when they do that, my ability to engage with them in a reasonable manner basically disappears, man. It's just gone. Seriously, I don't... Imagine, I find myself in a scenario, I'm just going to briefly outline it to you for a second. Imagine this scenario, all right? So you're in an argument with somebody, right? You're arguing with them, and it's, I mean, a heated argument, no doubt about it, but it's just an argument, right? And then, out of nowhere, the person you're arguing with reaches across the table and just slaps you in the face, smack, right? And you're like, what the fuck did you just do? And they're like, what? No big deal. Just don't even ignore it. Let's get back to the argument. So, you know, it just goes like this. And eventually, they smack you in the face a lot, and at some point or another, they then say, hey, you know what? This issue that's going on, we'd like to sit down with you and talk about it. Would y'all be liking to talk about it? And I gotta be honest with you. After being hit in the face, you know, a few times by somebody, my desire to sit at the negotiating table with them and talk about the process of restorative justice for both of us is fucking diminished, is what it is. Like, it doesn't exist. I'm not interested in it. So, you know, so there's that. But look, friends, I saw the, you know, the bigger streamers were out here, you know, and they've all gone home for the night, it looks like. So I'm guessing the end stream the end protest is ended, and they are off doing their thing. Now for me, that just means it's Saturday night. It's like 10 after o'clock. What does this mean? I didn't bring any money. I can't go out to a club, and that would just be horrifyingly bad plan anyway. So I feel like in a practical sense, it just means that we've run the course of our adventure for tonight. Unless you want to hang out when I get home. If you want to hang out when I get back to the apartment and shit like that, we totally can. But I'm just going to get high then and listen to music, I think. So you probably hate that. Everyone probably hates that. But I could go sit over here and wait for a minute. Like, it's basically my choices. My choices are right now, go over there and sit and hang out for a minute and wait. or take off. I don't have a strong sense of it one way or the other, to be fair. Like, I really, really don't. So, I don't know. I don't know the play. I think, if I had to guess, we'll go up to the main street here again. Well, not the main street, but we'll go up to 12th, and which is often where the protests come down. And so we'll go up there and look, and we'll just post up on this corner for a few minutes and see what we see. And if we don't see anything, we'll be able to take off for the night and get on with things. But yeah, hey, thanks for the follow. Welcome to Dark Side of the Rainbow. Appreciate it. It's like, why do I hear music? Oh, right, and it's the guy with the, remember the guy who we saw earlier with the PA system and the microphone and everything? Well, he's across the street and he's gonna sing. I kind of want to avoid that. As it turns out, I'm not sure if I'm in the mood for fucking, karaoke on the street right now. Especially if bro comes and talks to me again. So I don't want bro to get another fucking, protest going. Or whatever, with me. Maybe me and him. Protest of two. Whatever. Okay, so I guess this is one of these whatchamacallums. If y'all don't live in a city, you might not know what this is. It's supposed to be some sort of pole that carries electrical wires, and I guess it does do that too. Like, technically, it's what it is. But as we all know, really what it is years and years and years of fucking flyers, right? It's just these advertising flyers. And you can go, like, they're deep. It's inches and inches deep of, like, flyers and shit on here. And so, like, from a historical perspective, it's pretty cool to pull back, like, old flyers and look underneath and see like all the different stuff, because some of the art on flyers is really, really amazing. You get a sense of it right here, like at this top bit where it's kind of frayed, right? You can see like just all the layers of it here. Right, and I think that's so cool. It looks quiet. It is. I mean, we're not on the main part of, so we're in the Capitol Hill district of Seattle, and this is more of a, I mean, there's clubs here, don't get me wrong, but the clubs are mostly over on that street right over here. And I know it might not seem like it makes a big difference, but in the city, like one block actually does make a fairly big difference in terms of like the feel of the neighborhood and things. So, this is Cal Anderson Park right here, all the way around us. So and there's streets all the way around it. Right here where we are, this is mostly like commercial businesses and apartments. Same with that street over there. And this is also commercial businesses and apartments on this street. But once you get to the north end of the park, it's all just residential. So the whole thing is bounded. It's got this interesting dynamic to it. But yeah, it's basically quiet. Like this is protesters are marching further down the street. Which way? Like which further down the street? There's several furthers down the street, because I will go to where they are. If they're down on Broadway, I'll go there. Broadway's that way. Or are they up on 12? Kind of feel like they'd be up on 12. And what's the protest about? Well, this is so Seattle has nightly protests. So we have 3 protests per day, right? We have a morning march, we have an afternoon picket, which is like just for a couple of hours, and then we have an evening march, which is now. So there's that. But so yeah, the evening march started. Like they usually start organizing around 7, and then they take off around 8 to get going. So there's that. Oh, wait, so you see Cali C? Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not sure where they are. So like, I'm not sure where to go to kind of link up with that, but I'm happy to do so if we can figure it out. I will go, I'll march up here to 12th, because I do tend to think that's where they're going to come down. Alright, so also, like I must have been, like there was just, I was a lot sweatier earlier. I don't understand why. I guess it was raining more, I think. So it's wetter. You can hear the... You're down in Montlake. Yeah, I knew there was a... so there was another march tonight that was going to be taking place that was organizing in Green Lake. Unless that's the march for tomorrow. That could be tomorrow's.
Tomorrow's salad from Diaz told me. I don't like him. I don't like Diaz. I like him as a person who just doesn't like salad. That's the word salad.
You're down in Montlake. Gotcha. Well, I don't see any cops here. Remember, we got up here before. They're all stationed right up here. A big group of them there. There was a big group of them down here on this sidewalk as well, but they're all gone right now. So I really wouldn't expect that that is going to be much of a thing that's happening right now. Bury the Moon tour. Nice. Fucking moon. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is go across and post up over here and, you know, just... Tomorrow's National Taco Day. So what you're saying is I got a head start on that. Nice. This is a good sign. Can y'all see that? Actually, I think you might be able to because I can do this. No, I can't do that. All right.
Please do it, and then we would like butter.
Screen cap that, please. They turn left at Seattle Central College. Wait, so they're down this road right here? Like this is Seattle Central College is just like 2 blocks from this very point we're standing at. Are they in the street? So Seattle Central College is right there where those, not this first set of red lights, but the next set. So I don't see anybody. Like I don't see anything coming down the street. Okay, well, this is a militarized police vehicle right here. Oh yeah, okay, I see. So it's the cops coming down the street. Gotcha. Yeah, here we go. I see what you're saying. So here's the Bearcat. And they stopped at the red light, which is weird to me. Oh, the cops, they're in fucking cars, man. I'm on feet. I can't really like follow. Yo, that's the SWAT cop. I can't really follow them because I'm walking, yo. I gotta either like be with, you know, like the group and behind it, so as they come up, usually what the cops do is follow the march, and then they will try and pick off people who get tired, me, Like they'll, but I get tired and fall back so I can cover the people who get arrested and shit. But you know, and you have, it's a tricky thing because you want to help them get out, you know, of jail quickly, which means, you know, helping them with bail, which means knowing who's arrested, right? And that means asking them their name. It means asking them to yell their name in the street. And that can be a hard ask, depending on what's happening. But nevertheless, you know, it's important to be there to cover it when it does happen. All right, so are they still down there? Yeah, so they're still here. So maybe what we do is we go down here and we see what's where those cops rolled up to over there. Maybe that's the thing. I'm not sure. Like I can't, like I said, I just can't follow the cops because they got fucking cars and shit, yo. And I'm walking. The protesters are walking too. So I just have to kind of anticipate what's going to happen with that. And I guess if they're not going to be coming back down this way, then it's hard to know what to do. But like, yeah, as it turns out, the police are just like circling. Right, there's another vehicle, like that one's loaded down with SWAT guys. I don't know if you could tell that from here. But yeah, they're just circling the park right now. Right here comes another unmarked car with SWAT guys in it. Right? And they're masked up. They've got their masks already on. Yo, you never see them driving their cars with their masks on, dude. Like, what the fuck? So there's that. And the Bearcats circling the neighborhood again. And the doors are open. They're like just ready to like just jump out the back and shit.
Hey, excuse me, did you see, what's up? I know the marchers came back this way.
I haven't seen them yet.
You haven't seen them yet? Okay.
I heard that they turned left at the college, so I'm guessing that they're down on this street and gonna be marching back up this way.
They saw me filming the crowd. They told me to leave because they didn't want the police to know where they're going. So I don't want to mention it.
Yeah, fair.
Right. Yeah.
Same.
I'll be sticking around here though.
Yeah, I'm Dahlia.
Dahlia. Yeah, Phil Church. Yeah, we talked about
Oh, right on, Phil.
Yeah. I'm just getting on the ground now, trying to see what's up. Yeah, I'm just concerned that the police are going to come back over here with that vehicle.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm
going to head up there to watch.
Right on.
I'll see you.
Yeah. See ya. All right, so I'm not the only one out here right now. Yay! Field Charge is here, and I know Field Charge. Seattle Protest Network in the house. Seeing a circular pyramid. All right, so look, you saw a bunch of plainclothes cars, right? Just circle around. The protest is close. Right, they're close. So where do you think they are? You think the protesters are up in the north side of the park, like up that way, where all the cops kind of drove up to, or do you think that they marched on along? I kind of feel like maybe they've marched on along, you know, and so like maybe they're over, like there, like over on that street where we've been a couple of times tonight, to be 100% honest. I mean, that's my thinking. They're in the park area? Right on. So they're actually in the park? Because that would make sense to me. All right, let's go see if they're up on the north side. Like all those SWAT cars and all those plainclothes cars just came rolling through. And I didn't see them come back around on the other side, so it's quite likely that they just pulled up on the north side of the park, you know? And so if they're over there, you should definitely get over there and see what's gonna happen. Like, I never see the SWAT guys just riding around with their masks on, like in their cars. Usually they have them, you know, like available or whatever, but they're not wearing them. The fact that these guys already had them on is really nervous to me. Makes me really feel like they're going to be, you know, having like zero chill about shit tonight. Okay, it does seem like I found the protesters. Yeah, or at least some. But a cozy group, they are not the group I want to film. Right? And you can see like the one undercover car right there with its lights on. This is kind of posted up and watching. Right, there's a gathering. But yeah, this is what I want to see. I suspect that that is, let's go over here. I'm just going to kind of take a look. I suspect it's police. Right. Yeah, so plainclothes here. Monitoring, there's a group. I'm not going to show you the group, I guess. Well, maybe I can show you the group because I guess the cops know they're here and y'all can't see them at all. Anyway, there's a group gathered in the backside of the park here. And so what we want to do is kind of be on the edge here, because what happens traditionally is when, you know, the march breaks up, the police will predate on stragglers. Right? So the march is breaking up, you can see people moving out. Well, you can't see that, but you see this car moving off here. The cops are moving out. Which means that the protest is kind of breaking up. And what that means is we all gather here back in the park, and then, you know, like everyone just kind of goes their own ways. Now, there's only so many ways to leave out of this park. There are a fair amount of them, but there's only so many. So, you know, people get rightly worried about getting picked off on their way home. And so for us, there's no more police on this road right here. I think that there are probably, like when we saw them, I don't know where they all went. There was what, like 6 cars that came this way, and the 2 unmarked like SWAT vehicles, right? So they all came down here. The group itself is, you know, mostly going their own ways at this point. So I don't know where the police cars could have ended up, but they're not here at the moment. And so that leads me to believe that they're either circling through the neighborhoods looking for, you know, people on their way homes, or they are, you know, holed back up at the precinct. And it's easy enough to just come down like this road here and then come up a side road and go back down on another street, right? That's not hard to do. And since I'm on foot, I can't really like follow that in an efficient manner. But, you know, that doesn't seem to be what's going on. But we're at the north end of the park. I'm sure there were some protesters here and stuff, but by and large, that's over now, and looks like folks are going on their way. I really don't, there's a, I'll just say it like this. It's very difficult to get the trust of protest groups, and it doesn't take much to lose it at all. And, I'm really mindful that I've been able to get the trust of the group to the extent that I have, which means that I have to be, mindful of that relationship, and that means being really, purposeful about what I'm capturing on stream. When I'm out here, which is why I tend to be at the back of the protests, because that's where the police tend to interact with us. Right? They'll ride their bicycles up like on the road or on the side of the sidewalk, and then cut off the march and force us up streets and down streets and stuff like that. So being at the back of the protest allows me to see basically the interface between, like the state and the people, because that tends to be where they do their thing. Yeah, I saw that car going this way, so. And that grab van, so I figured we'll just go this way. Yeah, they filtered out, there's 3 streamers with them right now. Ah, yes. Like that one right there especially. It's got like the fucking upgraded like front grille and shit, right? Yeah, that's what that is.
Why is Athena at the quad during choir?
I didn't realize you're at the bar.
I was like using a little bit.
Oh, is that
I
where you
saw
were?
that. And he was like, "Can you guys stand in my room?"
All right, so we got a whole big line of undercover cars here. Hey. Oh, I guess I'm stopped here. All right, so these are cop cars, all right here. And I guess this like van, sure, just loaded with officers, yo. These guys are fucking loaded up. They're gonna, if they roll this thing backwards down the street, corner of John, yeah, I mean, the protest is over there and the cops are over here. So yeah, this is where it is. Ah! Nice.
Very fucking close. Because I'm the one doing the fucking movie.
Hell yeah. Oh, here we go. They're gonna grab him.
Close the door, John. All right, guys, form a line right here.
All right, make sure this goes out on Woke. Make sure this goes out on Seattle Protest Network. We're out of the way so the officers can do their job. We are not impeding their efforts in any manner whatsoever. So. So this guy over here, I don't know, you watched it on the stream, you watched it happen. He was just walking up the road here, and they hopped out of the car and yelled, "You threw a water bottle," and grabbed him. I mean, walking paid off. Thanks to the guy, y'all. Thanks for helping me find what was happening. Yeah, it's a little scary, but you know. I think there's somebody with a megaphone, like saying something, but there's no way to know, like, what's going on. I need to get my fucking shit, like, just gotten more intense, like, really quick, and I was not prepared, fam.
1,000 people are killed by cops every single fucking year.
Alright, so this is what I told Facebook users. It's a Facebook user. It's not a feed.
Fuck yeah! We don't do what you want!
Yeah. Make sure you share the stream. Make sure you get the word out.
Fuck yeah! We don't do what you want! Fuck yeah! We don't do what you want! Fuck yeah! We don't do what you want!
You can literally go and you can find the crowd.
All right. Miss Spice.
Jen, Bad Jews unite with our bacon cheeseburgers.
Now we got to get our earbuds in, because this is going to be fucking salty.
That's about the epitome of bad Jews.
Oh my lord, come on now. One earbud. The worst of all earbud situations. Is one earbud better than no earbuds? Cannot tell. Do not know. Not sure what to do here either about it. I'm gonna commandeer this fucking vehicle, I think. Nope, can't do that. I'll fucking get it. They'll hit me. Alright, so I'll put one earbud in and one not earbud, I guess. Which one is the good ear? Who can say?
How much is this cost?
Oh, right on. Thank you. Appreciate it. So you can see like right over here behind us, they're arresting that guy who he just walked around the corner. You saw they jumped out of the truck and arrested him. So he's being arrested back over here. I mean, in terms of arrest, they didn't throw him to the concrete or anything, so that was, good. That's not probably what will happen to any protesters who get arrested. They will probably get thrown to the ground. So that's the thing.
I freely admit, I like the belt position. That is,
And,
I like it, I freely admit.
And I am not. I feel like my helmet isn't on securely enough at this juncture, and I regret that. Like, in a lot of ways. I really regret that. George Floyd! 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 Oh, it feels dicey out here. It feels real dicey. You can see a group of protesters over here to the left. You see the police here have taken up a position on this corner. They just came jumping out, right? They were all in their vehicles until they arrested this one guy. As soon as they arrested the one guy, they all get out. The crowd moves up from the block and they're here. So we're going to move across over here and take a look from this other side. I want you to take a look down the street over here. I want you to take a look over here. So we can see down here, we got the bikes. We got the rest of the police waiting to come up. So it's important to be mindful about where these guys are, because they will usually come up on the sidewalks and grab the people. I thought I heard a megaphone like somewhere from maybe the police or something, but it's hard to hear. And I have no idea what they would have been saying. Happy to help. Hey, thanks for being here, y'all. Thanks for witnessing the George Floyd rebellion here in Seattle. Remember, there's links below to donate to the Pacific Northwest Bail Fund, to the National Lawyers Guild. You can donate there as well. I want to help legal observers be out here. So you can kind of see, like, you know, some press over here. Try to see, like, the cops over here. This was all just to arrest this one fellow who, you know, kicked a water bottle as far as I could tell. I couldn't even actually see what he had done. Nevertheless, they yelled at him, "Water bottle!" So, that's the thing. And my fucking mask is so foggy, my eye shield, so if I have to put it up. Alright, so you can see the police over there moving. Let's watch what these guys over here do. Water ball from at least 30 feet. I mean, yeah, I think it hit the ground, like somewhere. So there's a, you know, you can see the bikes, and I guess that's another car and a van, maybe? It's hard to tell with all their lights on. So we'll stay here. We'll stay with the protesters who appear to be hanging out at this intersection for a little bit. We'll just kind of go over here. I want to sit over here and just kind of look down that way for a sec. All right, so down the street over here, you can see that those cops have all turned around, at least on the bikes. Right, the vehicles, I guess they're actually backing up down the road, so they're going back that way.
They finally turned around. Good job. Keep on the bad work, man.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, green jacket, get out of the way!
And the bus gets through, of course. You know, just people on their way to work, I guess, doing bus stuff. All right, so go here for a second. I want to get out my other earbud. Or get that in. Right.
What's good? Anybody want a beer? I'm good. I'm good, thank you.
Oh, motherfuckers.
Love you too.
Come on, you stupid earbud.
Oh, dude, it's way right there. No, I'm chilling, man. I don't want you to lose the grip.
I can do it. I can do it. I promise. It's like a goddamn game of emergency.
No, bro.
Super dank. Okay, I think we want to get walking with everyone. Now that we've got our other earbud. Right? Okay. Earbud sort of in. Sort of got a little protection. Okay. Back on it. Yeah, we're going up to the main road. I suspect we're going to just march down 12th and do like we typically do in the protest. So there you go. Yay! Off we go. My press pass is for my old channel, so there's that, right? Nevertheless, we're back up on 12th, and so when every mainstream media corporation agrees with you, you know, for the protest, I mean, yes, probably. Or, I don't know, mainstream news media just wants to sell shit, yo. I think they don't care what sells, as long as it sells. That's my feelings. All right. So also this stupid gimbal, it looks like it might be losing its charge some because it hates me. It's literally signed like a pact with the other gimbal. Whichever gimbal I have, they're just gonna conspire to work against me. So I don't think these are not vehicles that are part of the protest. This isn't the car brigade. The car brigade is, well, they were out earlier today. You saw them in the march. So that was the thing. These are just, you know, random cars. And at any point, if I gotta take you off the gimbal again because it's, you know, lacking charge or whatever, I apologize. It's just a fucking pain in the ass. I don't know how to really make it not do that. So, anyway.
Hey, who do you shoot for?
I'm sorry, hold on.
Yeah, you did.
Yes?
Who do you shoot for? I haven't seen you out here.
Oh, I'm Rainbow Silks. I'm on Green Television.
Rainbow Silk? I'll
Yep.
check it out. So, sorry, I didn't mean to bother you.
Yeah, yeah, no worries. I just couldn't hear your fingerprints. Yeah, and it looks like the stupid gimbal is losing its charge because you're rocking. You're rocking, baby. I tell you, one of the nice things about walking through Seattle streets, like for real, no shit, is just like random smells of super dank weed everywhere. It's like, huh, nice. It's tricky to do it right now, but I feel it. Me too. Why don't they get out of the way? Well, as it turns out, there's lots of exits off the street. The protest is, you know, obviously protesting in the middle of the road, so there's a, you know, certain sort of, what you call it, the community action thing to being in the street, right? It's obviously right now it's nighttime. It's not like it particularly disrupts traffic per se, but during the daytime, during the march, the reason the daytime marches are in the street is to disrupt traffic. Traffic disruption is a very basic tactic in disruption of capitalistic groups in society, so pretty standard, really. Yeah, this is a group of 100 Americans just, you know, exercising First Amendment rights. Basically what's going on. Now, we've been standing at this corner for most of the night, the one coming up, obviously, anticipating this exact moment.
No, like Seattle, you can like they like. See, that's not a website. That's
We're gonna try and get up over here a little bit in front of the march, so we can be in a place to see the interaction between the police and the marchers. So it's good. They're gonna kind of bunch up and tighten up and gather up. And we're gonna make sure we can come over here and see what's going to happen, because undoubtedly there's going to be a pretty significant encounter coming up here. You already saw them. The pretty strong show of force when they were arresting the one person, right? So I can imagine that's just the scenario we're going to get right here tonight.
He's been on bike.
Right on, thank you. So there's bike cops up here to the left. I suspect we'll see them as soon as we get around the corner. And you see him? And right there. So we're going to get over here so we can see them right over here.
Hi! How much is one? It's only like 10. Say hi, right car. Say like hi. Yeah. There's Mark.
All right, so they're rolling out of this part back here, of this part of the station. All right, so right here, they're probably going to come down, go to the right, and come all the way around up on that street and come up behind us right over there. So there's two groups of bike cops out now. Oh, actually, they're moving up to the north. Okay, so they're going to join them here. They're going to link up with that group right there. All right. And that's where they're coming from. That allows them to actually roll downhill towards the protesters. And obviously rolling downhill is, well, easier than going uphill. So
Anti-block? I don't know.
I think it means no ninjas. That's my read, no ninjas.
In at least when I go to far right rallies, that's usually what they call block.
I gotcha. It looks like ninjas to me.
I infiltrate far right rallies.
Right on.
I don't attend them.
Yeah, we don't support.
That's an important distinction.
I've not even attended one to record it because I can't imagine having to listen to those fuckers for any length of
Pretty
time.
awful.
I can't infiltrate anymore. I've been.
Like there has to be a bucket. Like it fills and then that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. Like you only have so many strikes. Yeah, you can only change your hair color so many times.
All right, so now there's, as we saw the bike cops come out of the police precinct behind us, they rode up around, so now they're all gathered up here. I'm not sure I want to kind of get in the street here, and like the tricky thing is, like, I could kind of provide a bit of an impediment if they came rushing down. If they're going to come rushing down, this group right here, all right, look, see how they're in two groups right here? If you've watched Seattle Bike Tactics a lot, you see the group on the left, the big cluster? They will come slow, right? They're gonna both come down together. The big group on the left will come slow and down the middle. The group on the right will also be at the same pace until they get about halfway down the street. Then that group on the right is gonna kick up their speed and pace, and they're gonna bust up onto this sidewalk, and they're gonna cut right down the sidewalk and try and cut people off on the sidewalk. That is what they do night after night after night. And so I'd be surprised if that's not exactly what we see. Get the word out.
Oh my God, they're laughing up there. The police are, I don't know what that's about, but all the police laugh. I don't know what, I don't know.
Do you remember when you're asked to beat your ass in football?
Yeah, something like that 4 years ago. Basically, every cop up there just laughed at it.
Yo, Eve, what's up? Why don't you get out of the street? Because we're protesting in the street, I guess?
So basically, so I guess this is something about some football game or something, and maybe what you didn't catch, all of the cops laughed at that comment. So apparently there was bipartisan agreement between the protesters and the cops over Jameson and Navy.
I'm gonna go up there and take a look at what's going on. Let's go push up on them and see what's happening. Do you know who I bet we find? Because I can tell from here. Look, you think I can't tell? You think I can't tell? I can fucking tell from here. Esteban is there. Esteban, I can see you. I can see you from here. Oh my God, that ass. He doesn't know. No clue. No clue. Oh, Esteban, don't be mean now. Don't shatter my dreams. Pardon me. Don't shatter my dreams. Wait a minute. Something's not right. Something is off here. Something is off about this. Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that. Some I mean, yeah, that's the nature of that. You know, like, I'm trying to be careful, but I'm not violating any laws, so there's nothing to be careful about. I'm a law-abiding citizen of the United States. A veteran of the United States military. Hoorah! And these are a bunch of civilians.
When we were 2 blocks away and they started, that was exciting about it. They started smashing the windows. I had to run down to Starbucks. Yeah. When we were 2 blocks away. Who was giving these orders?
Back up. I mean, move back. I feel like these officers right here are having a conversation for our benefit. That's exactly what's occurring. So, because they're aware of who I am as a streamer, they're aware that this stuff goes out on woke and all, right? This is all part of it. So they'll have a conversation like they're doing about, like, you know, the stuff that happened early in the reason why, like, oh, we were 2 blocks away, we weren't doing anything, and here's the thing. Oh. Nobody falls for that. Look, I'm perfectly fine. Look over here. I'm next to a wall, right? So it's unlikely that they're going to be able to get behind me. Look how much press shit I got on. Can you see the press shit in the mirror? Like, I've got all this press crap. So, you know, like, if they arrest me, it'll suck. I mean, I'm not trying to suggest otherwise, but, you know, dog, I don't run the same risks as most people getting arrested, so whatever. I'm not going to sweat it too much. See, so let's kind of move to the back here, and I'll give you a shot of this, like the group here. I'll give you a shot like down of the protesters, kind of like get the whole thing in like a perspective for you that it's hard to see. All right, so you can kind of see right here, we've got a group of protesters, maybe. Oh God, it's hard to estimate numbers. Let's say 100, just for ease of discussion. It's probably like 60 people, really 60. So it's like 60 people there, right? 60 protesters, give or take. Just press with them and stuff like that too, so whatever. There's about 30 bike cops up here. As we've seen tonight, there's 7 unmarked vehicles rolling around as well. And so, you know, so they're here as well, and some of those are SWAT guys and Bearcats, and they already got masks. Welcome to the dark side of the rainbow. Yeah, the dark side of the rainbow here, that's for goddamn sure. 2020, literally, listen now, I don't care what happens over the next 3 months, but in the future, in the year 2030, they are not going to believe that this shit actually happened like this, that this was real.
Playing a game with them right now.
Like, no one will believe it. We're living through it. In fact, I don't even believe it. You know, I'm in it, and I don't believe what's happening this year. So that's the thing. All right, so that's special weapons guy. You see him with the backpack. So that's the grenades and the tear gas and shit. Like, there's one guy in the crew who carries all that shit, and then they just kind of like dole them out. All right, so you saw one group of bikes go up here to the left on 13th, and another group of bikes go off to the right on 13th. So, in a realistic sense, what does that mean? That means they're going to come down on either side of the protest group, right? They're going to be on this side, and so they're going to be on the north side and the south side of the group. So, you know, what do you think is going to happen from that? It's a good question, isn't it? I have a feeling. I have thoughts. I think things. Yes, it is probably the inevitable kettle. It just depends really on what happens here. So one of the strange things about Seattle police is that like they are super inconsistent in what they do. Some nights, like tonight so far, like just showing on bicycles and riding around and stuff. Other nights they have zero chill and they jump right out of the car, like before we even get going, they're declaring it like a riot and all the rest of that kind of crap. So who the fuck knows?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I even said, oh, it's Carissa.
yeah, there's that one group down here, right? It's important to be mindful of what's going on around us, right? But also, you know, they got those fucking headlamps on, which will make recording them a little bit trickier. So I'll be a little bit to their side, right? Well, the crowd is moving this way.
Flank fucking front 3 right. Now you guys listen. Oh gosh, dude.
I can't see any faces or anything, man. Come on. No, it's not fun. I'm very conscious of talking to you guys. You don't want to. But you don't want to.
Sorry.
Also, just listen, fam, let me just give you two pieces of professional advice, all right? Do not waste your money on getting a bump helmet or a ballistic helmet from Wish. Don't do it. You will regret it. Spend the extra money and get one from like Team Wendy. Yeah, get one from Team Wendy and you'll be happy. There's a couple other companies that I might recommend, but realistically, you know, go find your favorite veteran YouTuber and ask, and watch their video on gear to get, and you'll probably be okay. But cheap gear for your head is not the best play, right? Like, it's just not. Imagine the difference between $50 for a helmet and $350 for a helmet is a lot of money for a lot of people, so I'm not trying to pretend otherwise. But if you've been watching the streams, you know, shit goes flying in the air, fam. And I assure you, you'll be very, very happy to have a helmet that actually doesn't crack when it gets hit and protects your head. Cheap helmets will crack when they get hit. And when they crack, it delivers the momentum from the blow directly to your skull. It doesn't cushion it at all. So get a good helmet. Now, surprisingly, so here's the thing that happens, right? Like, in order to like reduce the tension, they have like the Metro Transit Division follow the protesters, because it's not the it doesn't look like the cops, right? Because they're like transit guys. So they have them follow. There's another undercover car right here. So that's who does it. Which I find odd because, like, the transit authority, as I mentioned to you earlier, there's no particular reason for that supervisor to be rolling around out here. Right? Like, don't have any jurisdiction or anything, so it's just obs. I mean, that's not the best thing. So as I mentioned before the start of the stuff tonight, this is an area of town where there's a mix of like residential neighborhoods and like businesses, low-rise kind of stuff. This isn't like the high-rise part of town, but there are some buildings that are kind of tall. But we're on Cap Hill, so you can see this fucking great light show here on the side of the underground, which is awesome. Right, look at this.
Way back there.
Right, so behind us, that's the undercover car, and that's the transit supervisor still. Oh yeah, that's the car is undercover, and that's transit police.
Oh, okay.
Or transit supervisor, I guess.
See you on the right side.
This is an interesting thing. We just walked around the block. Like, I feel like, you know, the de-escalation tactics of the Seattle police. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes they will simply do that. I mean, they'll just de-escalate and lead the march around all night long until people get tired. And I suppose if, from a strategic aspect, you know, that's a pretty good strategy, to be 100% honest. If you can force this group of people every single night to just march up and down hills for 2 hours, they'll just get tired and go home. Of all the things that they could do, like, it's not like I'm trying to suggest that that's a good thing, but it's far better than them hitting people. It's far better than flashbangs and all the rest of the kind of shit that they do. And I feel like, unfortunately, you have to have a choice. There's no, like, option where you can avoid, like, getting fucked up by the cops here. So you get to pick. And I guess I prefer the low level fucking with than the high, you know, aggression levels of actually getting hit by shit. Which, you know, fairly sucks, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if you all have been flashbanged or tear gassed or hit by cop bikes or anything like that, but it's not my favorite. I think what I want to do here is maybe kind of move across this street for a second and take us over to the corner of the corner of the corner. What do you call it? Like where you live when you want to go across, like diagonally across the street. Do you call it kitty corner? Do you call it catty corner? What do you call it? We can't go kitty corner here because kitty corner here takes us to a brick wall. So I have to go actually just across the street here. And so we'll do that. But I normally call it kitty corner. And I think what I want to do is take you right over here and have a seat for a second so we can kind of think about things and maybe take a look at some internal thought processes and figure out what we were doing here tonight. If y'all are just joining us for the protests here in Seattle, thanks for joining us. We have, as I mentioned earlier, 3 protests today. We have a morning protest, an evening protest, and a nightly protest, which is the, well, nightly protest, as you can tell by virtue of it being nighttime. Arg. All right, so hold up. All right, Yeah, it's my fucking face. We would say crossing just crossing twice. So you, wait, so you, how would you say that though? So if you actually if you wanted to tell somebody, how would you say that? Would you say, hey, we're going to cross twice? Is that what you would say? I mean, I guess that makes sense if you say that like that. What are we protesting for? So Seattle has daily marches. We've been protesting and daily marching for a lot of things, but so, you know, I don't like to make equivalency discussion or equivalency statements because it's not like that, right? Things aren't equivalent. It doesn't track like one-on-one kind of stuff. But we have in Seattle a long history of, you know, police that are overzealous in their application of force to such an extent that, mind you, look, this goes all the way back to Occupy back in 2010, okay? So that's why, look, it's complicated in Seattle because of that, because we have such a long history of the police here in Seattle. But during the Occupy movement, the police were extraordinarily brutal. Thanks, Biden. Thanks, Obama. And as a consequence, ended up committing a lot of violations. So many violations of the Civil Rights Code that eventually the Department of Justice got involved here and issued a finding which made the Seattle police have to operate under a consent decree. So that means that the Federal Department of Justice actually runs Seattle police in a salient and meaningful manner. Okay, but this has been, so that happened in 2010, and the feds were like, okay, these are all the reforms that you guys have to make as the Seattle police, okay? That happened. It's 10 years later, right, 10 fucking years later, and those reforms have not been made. Not only have those reforms not been made, the police have essentially told us, the citizens, to fuck off, and they just operate under the consent decree. The consent decree was supposed to be temporary to help them like get fixed, but they didn't, and so that's a huge issue for us here. The same level of corruption and graft and all the rest of it has been going on for a decade. And again, this is the part where equivalencies really suck, all right? But we had a situation here not long ago that was not terribly dissimilar to the Breonna Taylor situation. And so as a consequence, I mean, that person's name was Charlene Lyles. And so we have all the same kind of stuff, right? Like the same kind of like egregious breaches of public trust by the police, insufficient accountability for those things. And I mean, that's part of qualified immunity, and you have to get rid of qualified immunity to hold police meaningfully accountable. We all understand that part of it, but you know, like you can't just say, well, because they have qualified immunity, we cannot hold them accountable. That can't be our actual default position. We need to get rid of qualified immunity. That's true, but we also still at the same time need to hold our police officers, meaningfully accountable when they violate the law or when they break the law, right? One way or another, there's a proposition that's fundamentally articulated in the United States, right? If you are not from the United States, you might know it better than most Americans, because most Americans never articulate it to themselves. But essentially, you can choose. I feel like I'm getting a little bit distracted because things are kind of like organized. Anyway, but you can choose. You can choose to live in a land that is governed by the rule of law, which means that no one is above the law. The law applies equally and equitably to everyone. Or we don't live in a country that's ruled by law, which means that the law does not apply equally and equitably to everyone. And I think if you live in the United States, you know that despite our rhetoric about being a nation which is ruled by law, the rule isn't one of law, it's of money and power. And if you have enough money and power, the law does not apply to you in the same way. It just doesn't. And, you know, on some fundamental level, that's just unsustainable. It's just unsustainable, I think.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm asking is that you want to know if this is like a more local thing or national. So it's like a combination. I mean, the Seattle protests are pretty local to us, right? And we have our specific issues that we talk about. Like when we do our chants, right? We have like 5 things we say. You know, defund SPD by 50% at least. Take the money that we're defunding them by, and reinvest it into black communities. One of the things we also say is we want to defund no new youth jails. I don't know where you live, but here in Seattle, we actually have jails for kids. And so one of the demands we have is that we don't want any more. We already have a youth prison here, right? And I want to say it can have like 120 juvenile offenders in it. And the one that they want to have had like 212. So, you know, we're obviously suggesting alternative plans besides putting kids in jail. And so that's part of it too. And then of course, like just the little tack-on bit at the end, which is Jenny Durkin, our local mayor, to resign. It's unlikely that Jenny is going to resign. I mean, I don't know when the last time a politician just like, you know, was like, oh, you know what? Damn, y'all, you're right. I shouldn't have done that shit. Oops, my bad. You know, I'm just going to retire. Okay, here. And then just walk away. Like, I think they should maybe. Like, honestly, I feel like if like a politician did that, like, let's say for the sake of discussion it were me, right? And like basically the whole of my city is turned against me. And the whole of my city is like, please retire, please just go away. Like, I feel like, you know, like maybe you've got to really seriously consider that, not just like invest your ego in it and shit like that, which doesn't appear to be the case. I mean, it's hard to speculate about people's motivations in any kind of significant or serious way, but I think it's likely the case that you know, if you were a federal prosecutor before Durkin was, that, you know, in the end, you always are going to come down in a way which isn't, you know, like, despite you being the leader of the people, right, the mayor, you don't tend to come down in a way which advances policies for the people. You tend to come down in a way which advances policies for, like, city and state institutions, more specifically city, because, you know, you're the mayor of the city, right, rather than the state. But so you advance like city institutions, like the police and the fire department. The thing is, right, like, one of the things that really bothers me is I live in a place where fully 80% of my fire department people are volunteers because there's not enough money to pay the fire department. Now, in my opinion, I think that professional firefighters should be paid for their work. They shouldn't all just be volunteers. So if we could defund, right, the police by 50%, we can take some of that money and fund our fire departments, right? That's a big deal, having actually paid firefighters. And there's no hit song, right, called "Fuck the Fire Department." That is not the thing. People like fire crews because fire crews do the things that they are there to do, put out fires and rescue people by and large. And like that's good stuff. And the fact is that, you know, not every city organization does that. Like even the city parks department here is weirdly, like, maybe they don't have any choice, I guess. I don't mean to like put agency where there is none, but like if you watch them, like when we had CHOP here, or even just out there in Cal Anderson, they will often come through and do a thing they call a sanitation sweep, right? They're like, oh, well, we're just gonna come out, we're just gonna, you know, make sure there's no trash or whatever it is, and we're not gonna throw anybody's stuff away or anything like that, you know, and you'll all be able to get your stuff back, don't worry, you guys. And then that never happens. They will come through, they will wipe out all the tents, they will take everybody's stuff, and they will just load it up into dump trucks and shit. And despite the fact that the city says, no, you will be able to come and get your things, you can't. There is no place to get them from. And so all of these houseless people get their possessions taken over and over again, just thrown away. Like, it breaks my heart to see that shit. Like, it really, really fucking does. And I saw, so my camera's pointed at me right now, so y'all can't see most of what I'm seeing at the moment, which is fine because there's just a bunch of people just standing around. But I feel like we're getting ready to kind of march back down to the other intersection, so we'll march with the group once we head down that way. And then off we go. All right, so off we go with the marching march. Ow. Also, that hip, man. My hip is so still like sore from getting hit with that cobblestone. Like honestly, this shit hurts so badly. So I'm like, yeah, no, Onyx, no worries. So right there is one of the cop entrances is right there. So sometimes they just roll right out. We got to be mindful about that. I'm far enough away that it could be hard to just snatch me, and I'm fast too, so they tend not to do it. But I'm also enjoying tonight. There's been some tactical changes to things, and I really think it's working out a lot better. I am in no position to offer them advice about how to secure or do anything. However, I will note that we do seem to have a much better system in place tonight of scouting and keeping track of where law enforcement is than I've seen in several nights, because usually what I see is it's people just paying attention to our streams. And the streamers can be good about keeping, like, you know, tabs on some activity, but it's tricky to rely on us. So it's better to have people who are dedicated and are mobile. Like most streamers are just walking around, so we're limited to however fast we can go on our feet, right? So it's good to have people on bikes who can, well, essentially keep up with the bike cops, I guess, and do that, and keep word up with people. Having been walking on this concrete now for, I don't know, 3.5 months or 4 months, I'll tell you a couple of things. Number one, I need to get a different set of boots with Vibram soles, so that they're a little bit better, like on the concrete. The boots I have right now are designed really to be like in the dirt and shit. And yo. What is this word? What is that?
And even though it's like, I'm not actually taking money, and also it's still, there should be
Looks delish. So, yeah, we'll hang super far back, right? There's medics tonight, that's always good. I've got my upgraded first aid kit, of course, because, you know, you need to save yourself, my friends. That's what your first aid, they're called individual first aid kits for a reason, right? So we won't get too close with everyone breaking up and all the rest of this kind of stuff, but we'll take you, you know, into the space as much as possible. But this is, like, so one of the things that strikes me as really fundamentally strange about the entire experience of CHOP, like honestly, and I don't know if I can express it to you adequately.
Take it to the streets, y'all.
Indeed. It's this, right? Like so all this whole area was done up by, you know, well, not done up, but like protesters and all the rest were here, and they came through over and over to push people out of tents, and they left all of the gardens, they left these tents, and they do over and over again. And it's a really peculiar thing because they don't leave the community center open or anything like that. And because they don't do that, we find these kind of limited situations of resources, these limited situations of accessibility over and over. And because they leave things like this, and they apply the pressure on the protesters that were here, it's unclear what the purpose was. Like, for instance, if they say, okay, well, you're not, right, this wasn't, like, this isn't how this was. My group, we have a rally here every year, a big rally right here in this field, right here, actually, which obviously you can't do because, you know, there's the Victory Garden here now. And so, like, this is a big, so it's weird to me, right? Like, in a sense, by leaving the garden here, it breaks up the space so we can't utilize it in the same way, which means that for organizational purposes, we either get out here on the main field, you know, under the lights, which isn't, you know, always the best, or, you know, we're over here, which is mostly where folks go, and in the darkness, I'm not going, you know, over there. I'm staying over here, so you can't hear them, you can't see them too clearly, that kind of thing. But that's, you know, that's the deal. That's the sitch. And so, you know, I appreciate y'all being with me tonight. I appreciate you being here. I know that we had a, you know, it wasn't really even dicey, really. There was just a couple of encounters with the police, and in the end, they were happy to bicycle away. So, you know, so there's that. Stop streaming equals we're about to. No. See, that's a misnomer too. I think for me, like stop streaming. I don't really stop streaming very often. I do on occasion, because nothing interesting is happening and I need to recharge the batteries or, you know, whatever it is. As it turns out, the phone, you know, will carry a charge for about 3 hours or so, and so then you have to come off and get charged. But again, it sort of depends on what your purpose is, right? So, like, I'm not, and I really don't like and despise, actually, fundamentally, on every fundamental way I could express to you, the conceit, especially of live media streamers and independent media, but the idea, the conceit, the bullshit that media will tell you that they're neutral. You know, I really can't honestly speak for anyone else's motivations or intentions, of course, but I will tell you this: no one is. And if you and people who keep trying to push that kind of narrative that they are sus to me. It's really sus. Because, I mean, I kind of feel like the person, when they do that, is ultimately saying something, you know, not quite as verbal as this, but like, I think you're stupid, and I don't think you can figure out what I'm doing. And so, and man, that shit just always rubs me the wrong way. So, I don't know what to tell you about that. So I'm going to turn you around so you can look at me. Hey, look at me. All right, so I feel like that's about what we've done, unless there's going to be more stuff tonight. I doubt it. Right? It's already 23:45, and they've gathered for the like the end thing. So realistically, the only thing I need to do is kind of still hang out here and you know, just be in this area for in case anyone. I doubt anyone is going to leave the march and come back through the police station area. Like, I feel like I feel like just me is the only person who would do that kind of shit. But I'm going to walk by the police station in a minute, all by myself, and I'll yell, like, you know, fuck 12 and stuff, just like you do. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, you know, I have a perspective, I have a bias, I have all of those things. And I think that those things are valuable, and they make it different than just having a fucking, you know, neutral perspective. I don't need to tell you what you can see with the camera. What kind of, like, I hate that shit. Here's the thing you can clearly see with your own eyes on the camera. Like, dude, you don't need to describe that to me. I can see it. What you need to do is describe shit I can't see. Like, describe what it smells like, you know? Like, describe what it feels like to be there. Describe the sensations of it. Describe the sounds of it. I mean, stuff that you just can't see from the limited perspective of the camera lens. And I really hate it when these people are all like, I'm fucking neutral and I'm fucking objective and all this shit, because they aren't. and they shouldn't really try to be. And I think it's just, it always comes across to me as, you know, like just slightly disingenuous. And I think it's a way, I think it's a couple of things, right? I think it's a way for people to kind of participate, but also not commit to a thing. They're like, oh, well, you know, I don't really have a perspective. I'm just neutral, kind of a thing. And, you know, I get it. It's hard in lots of places in life to make firm commitments to stand on any issue, even if it's one that seems really easy to stand on, like stop killing people. You know, some people aren't cool with that basic premise. So, you know, there's that. And by the by, let me just say this about that. The complete segue, not related to that. But do you remember when we were here out a little bit earlier, and the guy with like the megaphone and like the speaker and the PA system and shit came up to us, and he was like, you know, let's go do this thing. And he was telling us that there was people over at CenturyLink Field right now preparing 1 million helium balloons to be released by school kids. Like, what? What? There's no chance that would happen in Seattle. Like, of all the things to happen in Seattle, really. And there's releasing 1 million fucking latex helium-filled balloons into the atmosphere is definitely not on the list of shit that Seattleites would do. They would fucking riot against that shit. No way! Because it all, like, if y'all don't live around here, you might not know this, but so Seattle isn't on the Pacific Ocean, right? It's on a thing called the Sound. And the Sound is home to orcas, right? Killer whales. And those killer whales, you know, breathe air and oxygen. And they don't like having balloons like clogging up their air holes, apparently. So I'm guessing like Seattleites are never gonna be like down with a let's just toss a fucking 1 million balloons into the air. Right on? So, you know, that's probably not gonna happen. And you don't even need to worry about that. Because two things, I'm not going down there to look. Number two, if they fucking released 1 million helium-filled balloons, you would all just see them go up about like 35 feet and then get blown in the wind. They will never go very high. It's pretty fucking windy here. It would just be, I can't even imagine why they would do it. So I think that guy was just, you know, full of shit. Full of shit. Absolute 100% creamy, smooth shit. Not the chunky kind, not the kind with stuff in it. That's me. I'm more chunky than smooth. Help us fire the mayor. Donate to the campaign. Look, let me ask you a question. What is this sign? What does that mean? Does that mean no ninjas? I think that's what it means. No ninjas, right? No ninjas? I think so. I mean, I wouldn't see it probably, but. All right, so look, what I need to do now is I need to make my happy way out of this, the zone. So we're gonna come over here and we're going to de-block, as they say, except I don't block, so whatever. No block here, baby, I'm 100% open. Actually, I'll just not do that. I'll just go to where I'm going and then take off my fucking helmet there. But I'll take you with me. I will take you with me. We will walk through the city slightly together and see one more last time my glorious town of night and fog and smoke. Fog and night and smoke behind us. You have ninja-vitis. Ask your doctor about how you could treat ninja-vitis. As you heard one of the other people who was here a bit earlier, saying that like she has been to like some of those, I guess, like, blue line rallies or right wing rallies or whatever that might be, and she's seen those like no ninja signs before, and when she runs into those, I think what those are, it's supposed to be saying is like no Antifa, right? No black bloc kind of folks, but they look like ninjas and not like Antifas. So I don't know. And, okay, look, here's the only reason I say it like that is because, like, no shit, about 4 blocks from right here, there's a martial arts dojo with a sign out in front, right? And it's got that same fucking face, and it says Ninja School. Like, right on the outside. So it's one of those, I'm just thinking it's related to, like, that martial arts studio. It's like, Cobra Kai and fucking Miyagi Dojo. Their fucking rivalries and shit. The Fash aren't even trying to hide anymore. No, they aren't. Alright, but here we are, once more at our fantastic precinct of East Precincting. Right there. Right? You see the Antifa stuff written kind of like on the wall there, I guess. There's a bunch of street graffiti. I would come over here and get a little bit of a closer look, but we have to get out on the street to do that. So hold on for just a second, I think, and we can come over here. And all right, so here's what we got here. Right, street graffiti all the way down this wall. And you can see there's just like it's just up and down, right? It's just different signs and slogans and all the rest of that kind of thing. All right, so that was a police car that just rolled by us, and I'm wandering in the street, so they reasonably could have said something to me, I suppose, and I guess I would have just pointed at this wall. I feel like I can't walk on the sidewalk because y'all got 2 fences. Look, it's not just one fence. There's a wall here and then a fence on top of that wall, but this wall is in front of another wall, which is in front of another set of fences. So that's the thing. And this is basically the area where you saw Brad. Brad's up here tonight. You saw, I don't know if you saw him just now, he's right over there on that corner. Right over there, points at local celebrity sort right over there. Was right here last night. Someone said, hey, why don't you go up there and see how many police are up there? And so, standing right here, just like this. Brad's like, yeah, I think I'll go over there just like this. I think I'll go over there and do that. I'll just go right up here and look inside this gate. And he did. He walked right up here to this gate, and then they ran outside here and fucking snatched him from that door right there. Now, I watched that happen, friends. It's not my favorite. I'm not looking to get thrown to the ground either. So I'm probably not going to walk up there. And there's no one hanging out here. But this is, as you can you see? This is like where they hang out with the bikes and the cars and all the good shit. They line up here. This is where they stage themselves before they come out. Hey, thanks for that follow. Welcome to Dark Side of the Rainbow. Appreciate it. It's been kind of a slowish night here on our side of things, which has been a good thing from a being in the street as a protester kind of thing, because there have not been as many flashbangs, tear gas, people getting thrown to the concrete. In fact, the only arrest I actually caught tonight on stream, they didn't throw the guy to the ground at all. Like, on some level, it always surprises me when they don't, like, just super brutalize somebody, smash them to the ground and all the rest. Except when I notice that the person they're arresting happens to be a white guy. I mean, I'm not trying to say that there's some favoritism going on there or anything, because I don't think they like this guy in any way. They just didn't throw him to the ground. Like, literally, you saw it. They jumped out of their truck, they walked over there, they just grabbed their arms, and they're like, you're under arrest. He's like, what? Why? And they didn't beat him, they didn't mace him. You've seen them you've seen them before where they are putting someone under arrest, right? And they'll have their can out of mace and waiting. And the guy will have his head down or whatever, like down like this and not looking at him. And they're just waiting for him to look up. Or they'll put the can under the face and spray it. None of that happened. Like, none of it. And the fact that none of that stuff happens so consistently for people, you know, that are light in their melanin is indicative of a pattern. We talked about it earlier. It's why the Seattle cops here have a fucking consent decree they have to operate underneath. Also, I think that, like, this is broken. So I'm just gonna walk across the street. Yo, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. So we've indeed made it to the end of our thing, I think, for what we're gonna do tonight. You, me, and all of us. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to get myself, you know, civilianized, as it were. Or I guess I could, you know, not be doing that. Let's see. Yeah, all right, so they went into the cop shop, so I'm guessing that what they're done for the night, but it's hard to say. Hell, you know it. There's a we got a couple of panels below. One of the panels underneath, you're going to see a thing that says personal inspiration. You'll see a quote by Frederick Douglass there. If you're not an American, you might not know who that is. If you're an American, you also might not know who that is. And that would be a fucking travesty. But it's the case.